Good morning, beautiful being. It is lovely to see you. And here we are inside, not because it's raining, but because there is a very good man outside banging around, probably disassembling scaffolding on a house not too far away. And I think those banging and crashing noises would be a bit distracting. So we're inside, and that means rocks, which is always good. So isn't this interesting? Nesreen, Linda, good morning. We have a new friend on our rock show today. Never been on the show before, the show really. But anyway, this is a piece of very ordinary New Zealand greywacke. You're saying, why am I showing off a piece of New Zealand greywacke? Well, this piece of greywacke was given to me by somebody that I used to know when he was a small boy, and I don't know who he is now or where he is now or anything. Elaine, good morning! But you know how when people give you things, sometimes you just happen to remember them. And he gave it to me and I kept it because he'd given it to me. You know how that works. He's a small child. And from time to time, I wonder where he is now and, you know, what he's doing. But this is the rock he gave me. And, you know, it's a piece of New Zealand greywacke, which is a sedimentary rock. So you can see that when it shatters, it goes into things that have come along in layers. And it's pretty dark. It's a rock that gets used a lot on New Zealand roads for chip and building and all sorts of things. Moonbeam, good morning, beautiful. Here's another piece of New Zealand, and don't ask me what it is because I've no idea. But it's really cool rock. It's very light, so I'd say it's volcanic, and it's sort of related to pumice. And you can see it looks like a mixture of something that's set. And that's because it is. Yeah, greywacke. It's actually spelled Greywacke, just to be fun. But it's a very common New Zealand stone. It's a big part of the geology here. So this is something else, and I can't even remember where I picked it up. But, you know, you go through a river and you see things on the stream bed that you like, and this is possibly one of those. So it's fabulous. Now to something that we tend to think more of as, you know, a crystal. This is optical calcite. And, you know, clearly you can see my finger behind it. It's amazing, really, because all the little, like, it sort of reminds you of selenite, right? Because everything is lined up in here. There's just like, they're like light beams, but they transmit. They bring the light through. I don't know what the correct word is, refract maybe. But there it is. It's just a piece of optical calcite, and it's gorgeous. Does it show? Oh, no. It's this one you're saying is pink. It's actually a sort of a rusty red. I'd say there's iron in it somewhere. And the lighter part is a sort of a tan yellow. So, now this is one of my favourite rocks, if I have favourite rocks. This is a piece of quartz from the Orange River in South Africa or Namibia or somewhere down there that my friend Jenny Polo got in, and she gave it to me, and it's this crazy fractured thing with, you know, phantoms, which is what the sort of when there's something inside that you can see, which clearly has a lot of iron or hematite going on, and then the pale quartz is grown over the top. And it's just beautiful, and inside there is a little place you have to hold the light just right, but inside a little hidden treasure there is a tiny piece of amethyst, because you can see it right in the middle. So, you know, we are layers, right? Vicky, good morning, beautiful. It's lovely to see you. I just enjoy this. Whenever I pick it up, I turn it over and over, and, you know, the facets are shiny, and this one's got like a fingerprint on it that's not shiny. But it's also, you know, it's very fractured and broken, and you get to see inside it. It is a bit like a heart, you're right. A bit of a pointy one, but yeah, it's a bit heart-shaped. Yeah, it's beautiful. I just felt very lucky when she gave it to me. It was like, oh, it's so interesting and it's so unusual. So there it is. So today, there's a comment that one of you made. We were talking about change. It wasn't yesterday, the day before, I think. Jocelyn, good morning, lovely. And it's about fighting with ourselves. A fight with myself. You know, I need to say no. This was the comment. I need to say no, and I had to teach myself to say no, but I find it really hard, and I'm kind of fighting with myself about it. And, you know, we can all go into why that happens. But I thought about this fighting, and I thought, well, what is it that makes you fight inside, right? And ultimately, for me, if I'm indecisive, because that's really what that is, if I can't make a decision, if I can't settle on a course of action or a way of being or whatever it is, I don't actually know what I want. Because if I really knew what I wanted in my bones, in my heart, in my soul, whatever words you want to use, I would go do it. And those of you who've made significant changes in your lives or done something great or, something that you consider as great, not something that the world considers as great, but something that you said, I'm going to do that, or this is going to happen, or I want that, or whatever it was, you really know. You really know inside you this is going to happen. There's no argument. So if there's conflict, if there's, I want to do that but I can't, or I'm scared, or, and this whole thing of, what are other people going to think, right? And let's pull that apart, because it's a common one. It's a common one that comes with saying yes to yourself and no to others, and all the expectations, and what are people going to think of me when I do, be, have, whatever, this. So part of you is saying, I want to do, be, have, whatever this. And another part of you is saying, not very coherently, not very consciously, usually running under the surface like subterranean water, but if I do, be, have this, somebody or some bodies are going to think, feel, react, whatever, to me. Well, that's interesting. Well, when heart and mind, when mind and body are in opposition, right? That's what you're talking about, Linda. When mind and body are in opposition, one or both can be right or wrong. You really don't know. You're only going to know when you get them lined up. That's I think, what's true for me. Because it might be that either one of what I find myself torn between is actually what I want to do, but I don't know until I've really worked it out, right? And the trap is, when I say work it out, there's a fine line. You got to pay attention to what it is that you're feeling, thinking, whatever, that says, no, I can't have that. You got to pay enough attention to it to at least know what it feels like. You don't need to think, I feel that way because of X, Y, Z is going to say this. You can get really lost in the story, and we talked about that yesterday, about all the reasons why something is bad or scary or can't happen. You can spend a lifetime doing that. We all know somebody who has and is and does. But you need to connect with the feeling, at least, if not the reason, because the reason why isn't really that important. You need to stay present with yourself and that resistance, that fear, that conflict, whatever, to actually think, okay, what am I afraid of here? What am I angry about here? What am I feeling here? Actually, that's the first question. What am I really feeling here? And often I will start with that. If I'm feeling, a tug of war, so hang on a minute, I'm feeling a tug of war. First, let me notice that I'm feeling a frickin' tug of war. Oh, I hadn't even realised that I was feeling a frickin' tug of war. Hi, Lucy! Yeah, totally time to get still and listen to the deeper voice of your soul, Linda. Absolutely. It's a signal. It's a sign. It's a flashing neon sign that says, hey, something in you isn't lined up. You don't really know what you want, because if you did, you'd go do it or get it or have it or whatever. So you got to get present with yourself and your conflict. And you got to get still enough. I mean, we talked about this. If you're in chaos, if you're in fear, if you're in stress, if you're in anger, if you're in sorrow, grief, whatever, it's very hard to really listen, because there's such a, there's a tornado going on in your head and your heart and your mind and your body. So you got to actually get still enough to tune in, to listen, to create, all of that. And once you gain some connection with what it is that's actually upsetting the apple cart, making, feeling like the tug of war. Okay, so I really want to do that because, and actually I want to do that because I think it's going to please this person, or it's going to get me out of that thing, or it's really what I want to do, or I feel obliged to. It's like, what are all the reasons reasons is the wrong word. What are the things that are driving you towards that thing? And what are the things that are pulling you away from whatever it is that you're wanting to do or be or have? You've actually got to stay present with it for long enough to feel the opposing forces. And that can be a bit, because here's a tug of war, and I'm actually saying to you, yeah, you've got to be present enough for the tug of war to notice it. Because if you keep saying, no, I'm not conflicted, I don't have any doubts about this, no, you do. You might as well get present with the fact that you do. And once you are, and sometimes I don't need to do it often now because I'm really well connected with myself. But I have sat down and just said, I want this, I don't want that, this is a concern, that's a problem. It's like just getting all the stuff out of my head onto paper where I can see it. So I can just be aware of the different things that are influencing me in my state of being and, in my choice making, whatever. And again, you don't need to get into analysis paralysis. Don't get paralyzed with all the reasons why and trying to fix it or solve it. That's the place where a lot of people get trapped. They think, oh, well, these are all the reasons and these are the people and the expectations and and then they try to work it out. Oh, well, if I do this, then that. And if I do that, then this. And if I, put all of these pieces in just the right place and hold my mouth in just the right way, then I'll be able to do it. No, because you're still really not choosing and acting from a place of wholeness and completeness and alignment and heart and head and, body and mind are in agreement. You're very much about, if I can just organise it right, I'll get away with it. You don't want to be making a choice about something you desire from that space. Excuse me. That's still not where you want to be. So, once you have recognised the different things that are pulling and tugging and some of them be really loud, which, you're probably well aware of. But when you've got all the really loud ones down on paper or organised or, some way that you think, okay, I'm aware of this and this and this, they're really screaming at me. Listen for the quieter voices. Because in the quieter voices, you sometimes find one that might only be whispering, but it's a freaking giant. And it's actually the boss of all the others. The things that we think are driving us, are making us scared or whatever, frequently aren't. They're just kind of like the icing on the cake, and you've got to, yeah, sure, there's the icing, fine, it's a chocolate gâteau and it's got cherries on it. But what's in those layers inside the icing? And you can only find out by taking a bite of the cake. It's a poor metaphor, but anyway, you get the idea. So listen, really listen and sense and feel and look and see and taste and touch and smell. Engage all of your sensing with what's going on here. What are all the pushes and pulls? Gaia, man, it's great to see you. Because we've got to get really present with ourselves and with what's going on. And then not try to solve it, not try to work our way around it, not try to find a way to keep everybody happy. But then, when you've really listened to all the voices, the loud ones and the quiet ones, to think, okay, in the middle of all this welter of noise, and, there's a whole process of making your brain and your heart coherent, which really helps to quiet all that down. And even in the middle of all of that, what do I actually really want? Tanuya, it's lovely to see you. Yay! What do I really want here? And sometimes it's exactly what you knew you wanted to start with, and you're just clearer about the people who are going to complain or whatever. And actually understanding, oh, this is what I'm afraid of, can be very helpful. Even if there's not a damn thing you can do about it. They're going to bitch and complain. There's nothing you can do about that. But actually understanding, okay, this is going to happen. I can expect it. And now that I can expect it, I can plan for it. That's the first thing. The second thing then is to think, hang on a minute, I can expect it. As a quantum observer, that means that in advance of the event, I'm saying this shit is going to happen. What if you expected something else? What if, as a quantum observer, you gave something else an opportunity to manifest instead of what you expect, based upon the past, based upon your experiences? Says, oh, that person always does that. No, they don't. What it is you and your expectations and your energy interact with them and their expectations and their energy in a way that predictably produces that particular outcome. Guess what? If you change your energy, they're going to respond differently. I've seen it over and over and over. It's a really powerful example quite recently of somebody with a professional relationship where, and the professional was not their advocate, was not looking after them, was not doing what they had been paid a lot of money to do. This person changed their energy, their state of being, marched into a meeting after some time, it'd been a while, marched into an appointment, got an entirely different outcome. And I mean diametrically opposed and different and much better, not opposed in a bad way. Transformed. Wasn't the professional that changed. This person entirely transformed themselves, and they went in with a very clear intention about what they wanted. And totally, Nesreen, your expectations bring event to life. So you have an opportunity then to think, oh my God, I'm expecting this shit from that person and that thing from that person, and like you lock them into that behaviour with your expectations, man. You're powerful. Don't think that it happens to you. You create it. That's a tough one sometimes. We do this. We just don't know that we're doing it. So when there's something you desire and you're feeling that push-pull inside you and you examine what it is you're actually feeling, then you can know what you're feeling, know what you're expecting of people and think, well, maybe I should start expecting something else. Okay, what do I want to expect? And all the time while you're beginning to create, you see, you're moving from what's past and what you expect and how difficult it all is and how confused you are to looking at who you've been around this decision, right? Confused and pulled in lots of directions. And thinking, okay, how do I want now to be in relationship to that person and how I think they're going to respond to this situation? And in any case, remember what the question was. What do I actually want here? And sometimes what you find, in fact not uncommonly, what you find as you work your way through all of your expectations and the fears and the I really want this, but actually I don't want that as much as I think I do because I thought it would give me this or it would do this for me, and actually what I really want is that. It starts to change and you start to get more clarity about what you really, really want. You got to think, showing for X, the unknown factor. Yes, anybody who actually enjoys algebra, I confess that was me, will understand that. It's like unraveling this little puzzle or a Rubik's Cube or a maze. You got to work your way through things and you gather information as you go. But the first thing is you got to be present to the fact that you don't have an idea or that you really, really want something, but you're feeling all this conflict. So what is it you're really feeling? And what do those feelings and fears and everything else tell you about the things that are driving you to desire X, Y, Z? And actually, do you really desire that or do you desire something else? A very quick example, which, it's a great one that I learned from Joe Dispenza. So many people, including me, say, well, I want lots of money. I want to be financially free. Okay. So what are you going to do with your money? I mean, who cares about money? Money, numbers on a screen, bits of paper in a bank vault. Really, money. So what? Oh, well, I want to fix my house. Okay, so how do you want to fix your house? What's going to happen when you fix your house? Oh, I'll feel good. I'll feel comfortable. Okay, so focus on feeling good, feeling comfortable. Oh, so when I have lots of money, I'll be free. I can go on holidays, I can travel, I can pay off my house or whatever. Oh, so focus on freedom. You see, often the thing that we think we want isn't really what we want. We want the state of being that the thing we think it's going to give us. And, and we're back to the thing that we talk about a lot, which is ultimately we have to give ourselves that state of being in advance of the experience. That's creating quantumly rather than three-dimensional cause and effect. I become the cause. Instead of waiting for something outside of me to cause me to feel something, I become the cause of my feeling, and then the thing that I desire catches up to me. Hi, Kelly! Lovely to see you! So, if you're indecisive, you don't really know what you want, and you got to get present with your indecision and your fears and your wonderings and your what-ifs and your everything else for long enough to see what it is, then don't try to fix them. But do decide who you want to be in relation to them. And as you do that, you're going to get clearer about what you actually really do want. And when you really know what you do want, you will make plans, you will work out how to deal with things, and you will go do it. And more importantly, you will go be it. Because you got to be it. This process of working out, figuring out the indecision, paying attention, deciding who you're going to be, you're going to know much more clearly who you are when you have that thing that you want. And then you can go be that person in advance of having the thing that you want. And when you walk into a situation where everybody's expecting you, for example, to be small and scared and beaten down, and you've done the work, and you have become someone who's empowered and clear about who they want to be and full of love and compassion with that power, it's not about suddenly turning into a monster. But you walk into the old situation as a new self, they have to respond to you differently. There is no argument about that. It's just that, we're primed and fired and wired in our minds and our brains and in our body with the chemistry to behave and be a certain way. But we don't have to. We get to choose. We can create a new self. We can be somebody else. And when you walk into your old life as a new person, it's not your old life anymore. It's your new life. You really have to stand in your space and say, no, I'm not behaving like that person anymore. What do you mean you want me to play the old game? Piss off! I'm this person now. Take some practice. Take some determination. But oh my God, is it worth it? Trey, it is so lovely to see you just as I'm running out of time. But hey, it's lovely to see you. It's lovely to greet you, every single one of you that comes with me. And look, here is a thing that I am going to be saying now until a little counter ticks over. I have reached 2,121 friends, and it's probably a little bit over now. And in my mind, I've had it for a while that when I reach 2,222 friends, which is not going to take very long because it's going fast, I'm going to take this Maddie Schaefer profile, me, and turn it into a page. Now, nothing should change, but it's going to happen. I want you to be aware of it because, the thing is, I'm going to reach 5,000 friends and then that's it. But my vision is to reach many more than 5,000. So it's going to go from Maddie Schaefer, the profile, to Maddie Schaefer, the page. Nothing else should change. Our conversations will happen in the page chat instead of in messenger chat. I'm just letting you know, I'm going to say this at the end of every live until we make this transition, because I got to make room for growth. That's what we're about, always. Big love, it's great to see you. Ilahi, it is lovely to see you just as I'm saying goodbye. Enjoy the replay. Big love, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.